and in your business. How are you tonight, Hasib?
Oh, very well, Shaz. Thank you for greeting us today, Shaz. Been missing you. Where you been?
It's a pleasure. You and Suki are doing such a marvellous job.
We've been missing you.
You don't need me anymore.
Well, I've been missing you. I'm sure the listeners have been missing you as well. Your wisdom. Your pearl of wisdoms. You know,
I tell you
what, learn a lot.
You've been hiding it well for the last few weeks.
I've got to hide it well.
But I'm delighted to be back.
No, it's great to have you back, Shaz.
It's a pleasure, and Suki can't be with us tonight because he's out the country, and hopefully he'll be back with us next week, and I'm looking forward to doing a show with him.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. That'd be brilliant.
What's been keeping you busy, Hasib?
What's been keeping me busy, Shaz, is work as always on there. It's been a bit of a boring week, to be honest. Work and home.
Well, you're an accountant, so what do we expect? It's not exactly going to be an adventure for you, is it?
Accounting, you'd be surprised. Sometimes it's an adventure.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I've been at it for the last 18 years. I'm yet to find it. But if you have found it, share it with me and the listeners. I'm sure we'll be more than delighted to hear about your adventure. If you'd like to get involved with the show, please do so by emailing us on studio@salamradio.co.uk. You can text and WhatsApp us on 077 45 978 278, or you can call the studio on 01733 602 133, and you can of course send a message through Facebook. Hasib and I are going to be sharing some ideas today about businesses and our experience and expertise of having worked with different businesses. We'd love for you to get involved, ask a question, share your expertise, or perhaps even disagree and challenge us on our ideas, because that's how we can grow and develop together. So Hasib, what is on your agenda today?
My agenda today is, because many people I've asked this question after the radio show outside, what is the main reason why businesses fail? And I tell them there's many reasons. There's many reasons why businesses fail. There could be many reasons, many factors to it. You know, one of the main reasons is lack of planning of business. People think of business in the short term. They don't think of the long term, and they just think something's going to happen the next day, something's going to crop up, and they just make a sales and so forth and business flow. And fortunately, in the real world, it doesn't work like that. You need a plan. And
why do you think people fail to plan?
I think sometimes they don't understand the goals or the objective of the business. What do they want to do with the business? Fine, you got an idea. How are you going to expand on the idea? And people don't put much thought into expanding that thought in there of what we're going to do next, what's the next step, and so forth. I think that's where majority of them fail. They don't plan for the future. And if there's an adversity, something happens, they don't have a plan B.
And do you also think perhaps it's a issue of them not knowing how to go about creating a plan?
I think majority of the time, yeah, I think what is a plan? What do the plan is to make sales, and we'll make sales. But how do you make them sales? What do you do to make them sales on there? For example, in any business, there must be a starting point. You must have something there to sell. What is the reason you're selling that for? Why do customers want to buy that? There's many things people don't plan ahead for that.
So let's start from, say, day one, where somebody has an intention to start a business in, say, 3 months' time, for example. What should they be thinking about in their plan, in your experience of having worked with so many different businesses? I'm sure you also draw up plans for businesses, so you'll have a good insight into the kind of things people should be thinking about and are thinking about.
I think one of the things is, what are the customer needs? What do the customers need on there? What I'm selling, every business sells something in there. What's mine? What's the product I'm selling? What's different about mine? The capital of the business, where I'm going to raise the capital. The cash flow. How am I going to pay the overheads? How am I going to do that on there? Also, management. You got to be, absolutely disciplined of what you want to do and follow a plan. If you make a plan, you sit down, you made a plan, you got to be disciplined to follow that plan.
Before we get onto that, so you're saying they should have some clarity over the capital. So how much money are they investing, and how much money are they borrowing from a bank? Because obviously, usually when people draw up a business plan, especially in the earlier days,
when they borrow the capital,
when they're going to borrow money. So you're saying think about that. and in that process, of course, or in the numbers, account for how much it's going to cost you to borrow the loan in terms of making the repayments. So that's one area. You're saying then draw up a list of all the costs, all the overheads. So that's good, and they can then have a good understanding of how much money they need on a weekly or a monthly basis. They can also then think about working capital. So how much money do they need to start off, and just in case the bank can't give them a loan from day one, and having that monthly figure
so will then come to a question on it, because if people can't raise to the bank, people go to the high street bank and that's where they think they're going to raise capital. So the bank says no. Where else could they go to raise capital?
Hold that thought. And the monthly expenditure then shows them, okay, I need X amount. Because I think sometimes people underestimate. They think, oh, we're going to pay the rents, the rates, some staff wages if they're going to have staff, some of the other main overheads. And if they're selling something, then they think, okay, I need to buy the materials or the stock. But then they forget to include some of the smaller costs, like advertising, perhaps marketing, printing, having a website, business cards even. So lots of small little items, buying a printer. So I think that's a good idea that you've shared, is list out all your costs so you've got total clarity. Going beyond that, I think a very important point before you even start writing your business plan is, why did I start my business? Why am I starting my business? So that purpose of is extremely important, and having clarity on your purpose. Because as you know, Hasib, once you start a business, 3, 6, 9 months time, honeymoon period's over, then if you don't have a strong enough purpose, then things start to go downhill. So that's important. I think also having a very clear mission, which is, why am I in business and how am I different? What am I looking to achieve? Am I looking to change the world? Am I looking to change Peterborough? Am I looking to change a particular sector? What makes me unique? And that obviously leads down to your unique selling proposition. But I don't think we need to run through every single part of the business plan, because as excited as you and I are about those things, some of our listeners might think, here's two boring accountants at it again.
But should you write down your goals instead of just putting your thought process in your mind and that's it? I think every goal that you have for the business, you should write it down, have everything on there, rather than just, because some people say, I know what mine is, and when they write it down, it makes sense. Oh, really? Do I think I can achieve that? Can I not achieve that? When in anything, when they write that down.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of research. Even if people Google the benefits, the power of setting goals, you'll find a lot of research on the importance of writing goals. And if it's not written, on paper or on a computer or on a tablet, then it doesn't exist. So to physicalize it, it's important to write goals. And again, lots of research indicates and shows those people who write goals tend to achieve more than those who don't. So it's extremely important to have goals, because then you can also share those goals with your team members and any other stakeholders who work with you, so that you're all singing from the same hymn sheet and you're all working towards the same end game.
As coming back to
raising finance. So if the bank a bank isn't able to lend you money because they don't believe in you or your expertise or your business plan or the sector you're going into, then you can either go into partnership with somebody who has the expertise or who understands the sector or who has credibility. So that's one option. Another option is you can try and borrow from family and friends. That usually works well because they know you personally. They will have more belief in you than a third party. So that works incredibly well. You can also borrow money from other third parties who aren't banks. You can also go online and use peer-to-peer lending, or there's companies who will give you short-term loans up to £50,000, like Funding Circle, for example. That's just one. That works well. Crowdfunding, so Crowdcube, and there's quite a few others, by the way, who you can go online, send them the information, and then people will decide how much money they want to lend to you over a certain amount of period. So there's many other ways as well, by the way, in terms of equity finance, venture capital funding, and that type of stuff. But that would be more in a more advanced stage of a business. So there are quite a few different routes where you can borrow money. And sometimes, if a bank's not able to lend you or give you a loan, sometimes they'll give you like a £5,000 overdraft. That's good enough to make a start too.
Another thing, people when they start businesses
and refinance your own house. Sorry, by the way. So if you're dead set on the idea, you own a property and you've got equity in it, and you're able to refinance that, that is a possibility too. Or sometimes I have seen it. People have a nice car because they've had a good job. They now obviously give up the job to start their business. Got a nice car worth 10, 15, 20,000 pounds. Sometimes they'll sell their car because they believe in the business idea so much. So there are numerous possibilities. If one has the will, they'll find a way.
Another thing I think people underestimate is a commitment when you start a business. Expected to be normal when they're an employee and 9 to 5, for example, and they think that's how it's going to be. They underestimate the hours that they need to put in, the sacrifice that a business needs. I think people need to educate themselves about the wide range of responsibilities that they have, and you can only if they put so much hours in there, only they can expect that return as well. If you put a few hours in there, you wouldn't expect much return. And last week we had Mr. Waiwala here, and that's what another thing he mentioned. He said, he spent a number of hours in his business when he started off, and he got the results at the end. But there were, he needed to be committed to the business, and he spent a lot of time and made a lot of sacrifices. And I think people, when they start a business, they don't understand how big the sacrifice sometimes might be that they need to make that business successful.
Yeah, that's, I guess, sweat equity. Okay, so how much time, effort, energy are you going to put in your business? And again, the more clarity you have over the purpose, over your mission, okay, and the clearer you are on your own values and your goals, the more you're going to believe in the idea, and the more time and effort and energy that you are going to expend in that business to make it happen. Unfortunately, results don't come as quickly as they do, as we think that they're going to when we write the business plan. And we all know that the only thing guaranteed in a plan is that things won't go to plan. So you've got to persevere, you've got to believe in the end result. My own personal belief is you've got to detach yourself from the result and give it your best shot and just keep trying. And there's again numerous books and information out there on perseverance, people sticking it out, whether they're entrepreneurs, sporting personalities, other types of artists, people who've achieved great heights and prosperity, about how they continued persevering until they reached their goal. I think that again comes down to, Hasib, how hungry you are. How badly do you want it? If people want it badly enough, they'll make it happen. If they don't want it badly enough, they'll find 68 different excuses for why it doesn't work, anywhere from the economic climate to the wrong type of customers, the wrong type of area, wrong staff members, wrong product, wrong mindset, wrong type of community. There's loads of excuses why something doesn't work. And I guess you've mentioned it earlier about taking responsibility. We all like to blame somebody else. It's his fault, her fault, their fault. So
to make yourself accountable.
Yeah, become accountable. Yeah.
Another thing is, the businesses are not doing well. Business owners don't like to go and ask someone for some advice. They fear that that's a failure if they go to ask someone else. There's a pride comes in there. I'm going to go to this person because he's going to that person to ask advice because he must think he's a success. He's done well in his life or in his business. So if I go to him, he might just say, "Oh, you know what? There's many reasons." You might think that he's come to me because he's failing in his business. He's gonna, rather than give me some good advice, he's gonna have a joke and a laugh about my business, and I'm not happy with that. And they don't approach people. Mm-hmm. And because of embarrassment. What would you say to that? When when your business is failing, approaching people saying, "Look, I've got a problem here. Could you please help?"
I think if people are going to others when their business is failing, they've got a major problem, because I think that exercise should start earlier. Okay, so we have covered in previous shows about the importance of having a coach or a mentor, and Suki talks a lot about that. So it would have been good if he was here today, but of course next week I'm sure we'll pick up on some of that, because he can share his experience of coaching and how that works. But it's very important to seek advice from others, be it they're a mentor or a coach or somebody you respect or a family member, because if nothing else, you can use them as a sounding board, just to sense check your own ideas. I think there's a deeper point here, which is the more competent we are in our own minds, the more secure we are, the more self-belief we have, the more likely we are to seek advice from others, because we're okay in our own skin. When people are insecure, or they perhaps want to pretend to be somebody they aren't, or they are trying to put on a brave face, that's when they don't want to go and see others, because that for them is a sign of weakness. And really it should be a sign of strength, that you have the ability, the conviction, the courage to ask somebody a question. Say, I'm not too sure here, what do you think? Or this is the challenge, this is what I'm looking to do, what do you reckon? And as human beings, we're hardwired to help other people. Okay, somebody could be good, bad, indifferent, but most people, in my experience, okay, are more than happy to give advice, because we like giving advice, because it makes us feel valued, it makes us feel important, and it also shows us that we're being of use to somebody else, so we can serve somebody else. We'll happily give them advice. I mean, I've never had someone say to me, I can't answer that question for you, why are you asking me? Sometimes they'll give the answer for free. Some people might charge for a particular service. But either or, let's just talk about the free bit here. Nobody's ever refused to answer a question. Okay, that could take us on a different path of how do you ask questions to get the right answer. But we won't go there today. And again, because Suki is into NLP a lot more than I am, it'll be an interesting conversation to have with him. But I think it's very important to seek advice, to be confident in your own self, and that's easier said than done. And just speak to the people, just to bounce ideas and see what's going to work, what's not. Why do you want to repeat the 643 different mistakes that most entrepreneurs make, when you can avoid, let's say, 642 of them by asking other people, so you don't have to repeat those mistakes and you can speed up your success?
I think we're going to come back to that point where you have goals, you have ideas in your business. I think this is something people do. They have these ideas, but they don't put it in action. And when they don't put it in action, they don't see the results. It's worthless. So to succeed in business, them ideas, they've got to take action. Some people are, in a way, they back away from the ideas, thinking, no, it's not going to work. As giving the many reasons of themselves, saying it's not going to work for this reason, it doesn't work. But if they haven't put the idea in action, how do they think it's going to work? And if then someone has an idea, Shaz, comes to you and says, I've got this idea, I want to put it in action, but I'm not too sure, it's going to cost me too much, there's a lot of cost involved in here, it might fail, and it's a big risk. How does that person minimize them risk for him if he has an idea and it's cost a lot of money?
Well, it depends on the strength of the idea and how much return they're going to make, because the best ideas in the world are worthless if they aren't implemented. So if you look around at some of the inventors and in some of the larger businesses, or some of the people who've achieved great success very quickly, the idea they had, they weren't the first to have it. And sometimes when I'm speaking up and down the country talking to others, they say, oh, that particular idea Mr. X or Miss Y had, I had that 3 years ago, but I didn't implement it, because they weren't there's numerous reasons why they weren't able to implement it. So I won't be unfair to them to say they didn't have the courage to do it. You know, the circumstances, the situation, or they were just procrastinating. But let's just say for whatever reason they just didn't do it, and somebody else comes in and does it. So there is an element of risk. But if you have an idea and you really believe in it, that the person who does will do something about it and something with it. Most of the people who kind of just fester over it and think, I'll do it tomorrow, it's a great idea, it's going to work at some point, I'll get round to it, I think that they don't truly believe in the idea. They might make you and I believe and think, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread, but so that holds them back. And then risk of loss holds them back. If I invest £10,000 in this and it all goes wrong, it'll be doom and gloom and I'll be dead and what's going to happen? Okay, too much worrying also causes a problem. And I think real true entrepreneurs, irrespective of the size of their business, have a certain appetite, okay, an attitude towards risk. They take a lot of it. The more successful they are, the more you'll see they take a lot of risk. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't, but they keep throwing a lot of mud at the wall. So those are a couple of ideas. I mean, we can do a whole show on that, Hasib, because that's a very deep point. But because we're generally covering quite a few different areas, and I know you've made a long list for me just to make me sweat, because I've not been here for a few weeks. So we'll cover those areas, and if at the end we do have some time, happy to come back to this point, because it's quite important. And I'm going to be asking you a few questions after the break as well, by the way.
No, that's
just
fine,
so
Chaz.
you know.
On my toes. But as you said, business started. I said, giving it time. How long should a person give it a time of a business before say, okay, I've invested a lot of money in this. It's time to call it quits on there, because I don't want to. I've spent so much money on there, but if I keep going, I'm going to lose more and more. How much time should a business give themselves?
Well, that's a good question, and it's part like how long is a piece of string? So it depends. If they're into fast growth businesses or technology businesses or very innovative businesses, sometimes they might take a bit longer to catch on. Okay, they grow fast, but you got to invest a lot of money, research and development to get it pretty, not right, but to get it to a place where it can go out to the marketplace. But usually, I think if you make a small loss in the first year, it's okay. Second year, you break even, it's okay. Third year, you should be looking to make a profit. And if in the third year, if most businesses, or let's just take an average business, isn't making a profit, then you got a problem. Okay? But, I mean, I've only come across a small number of businesses, Hasib, where in the first year, they've made a loss, but in the second year, they start making a profit. And Steve Jobs, okay, who took a lot of risks. I mean, you look at some of his businesses, ventures, they were making losses at the start, but in the end, he pulled them through. Same with Richard Branson. I don't think we need to mention too many names here, because these are household names and people know about them. But a lot of businesses, even Bill Gates, in the earlier days, they make losses, but they keep investing. So it's again, it depends on the industry, but I'd say second year, look to break even and make a profit. If not third year, definitely. If not, then you can think, is this the right type of business? But that doesn't mean give it up. What that means is, say, like you said earlier about the business plan, am I targeting the wrong customers? Is this product not right for the marketplace? How do I change it? So don't give up. Just change and tweak. I mean, you should have changed and tweaked over the last 3 years if we stick to the example of make profit in year 3. But if you haven't been tweaking as much, then just test different ways and avenues. You should do that after. You should always test. But if you haven't been doing it in the first year, definitely do it in the second year. If not second year, try it in the third year, and it will work. I've yet to see a business, and as you know, I've seen lots of businesses which fail because their product wasn't right. Usually they fail because they don't market it properly, and they fail because they are unable to sell because they don't have sales skills. So if you can market properly and you can sell, there's always a customer out there who will buy your product or your service. And we might touch on that later if you like, but after the break I'll be asking you questions, Hasib, and listeners, if you would like to participate or pick Hasib's brains or my brains for that matter, please do get involved and ask us a question, and we will be more than happy to address that question for you. We're going to a break now, and we'll join you in a few moments. Thank you. Bye bye for now.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
It does not take much to bring some difference. You give some change, which makes a change, because nothing gets mileage like a charity. Just a little change turns into a chain, and before we know it, the results are massive. So give a little to make a big difference. To give donations, call UKIM on 0207 387 2157.
Had a car accident or an accident at work? Accident specialists are experts in no-win, no-fee accident claims. Leave the hassle to us. Our multilingual settlement experts will manage the entire claims process on your behalf, with nothing to pay up front. We provide services such as credit hire, taxi vehicles, recovery, storage and much more. For full details on our range of services and a free consultation, call us on 01733 555 774 or visit our office at 249 Lincoln Road opposite the NatWest Bank. Accident specialists. Start your successful claim today.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
दोस्ता कियां परेशान है
जरा करे ना सारा सौदा मुक्या वा मुल्का विच पैसे भेजने
हूं नहीं अमार फूड वाले की फोन खड़का ते फ्री लोकल डिलीवरी कार मंगवा
आलाता उथे कै स्पेशल आ
उना की लबाई हाइजीन च ग्रेड 5 चीजें चंगियां मियारी ते सस्तियां ते नाले ऑफर ही ऑफर
और क्या
ताजा गोश्त ताजी सब्जियां ते फ्रूट आटा चावल दालां मसाले ते जूस सारे बिल जमा करने गैस ते इलेक्ट्रिक नो टॉप अप भी करने पाकिस्तान पैसे बिल्कुल फ्री भेजने मतलब के एक चिड़ी ने दूध छड़ी ते हर शय लबनी
उठ जने ने आप उतरा
Amar Food Store and Halal Meat 613B Lincoln Road Peterborough telephone 01733 687374.
Is your child spending too long on their tablet or games console? Are they getting enough exercise? How about introducing them to wrestling? Futua Freestyle Wrestling Club is the only wrestling club in the Peterborough area registered to the British Wrestling Association. Wrestling is a prophetic sunnah sport that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companions regularly participated in. Wrestling at a young age helps with flexibility, fitness, self-confidence and teamwork. Our sessions are taught by a top British wrestling coach with over 20 years experience. Every Monday and Wednesday at the Gladstone Park Community Centre on Borge Boulevard, 5:30 to 6:40 p.m. for ages 4 to 7 and 6:45 to 8 p.m. for ages 8 to 13. Monthly fees are only £10 for 8 classes ages 4 to 7 and only £15 for 8 classes ages 8 to 13. Your first session is free, so come and give us a try. To enrol, contact 07971 448847. Futua Freestyle Wrestling Club, every Monday and Wednesday at the Gladstone Park Community Centre.
The Prophet ﷺ said, "When Allah had finished his creation, he wrote over his throne, 'My mercy overcomes my anger.'"
If you want to learn about Islam and Muslims, stay tuned to Salaam Radio 106.2 FM.
You are listening to the Empower Hour on Salaam Radio 106.2 FM. The purpose and objective of Empower Hour is to inspire, encourage and empower you to become bigger and better in all walks of life. My name is Mohammed Asif. I've got my co-host here, Shaz Nawaz. Also, if you like to call in, this on the studio is number is 01733 602 133, or you want to please text or WhatsApp us on 077 45 278 978. Earlier on, before we went on the show, we were just talking about businesses, startups, the failures of them, some of the reasons that they fail, what they could do to improve their business. And Shaz, before we went on the break, you mentioned about marketing. A business, how much should they spend towards marketing, or have a budget? Is there a percentage, or because some people just go overboard when they're starting the business, spend too much, it doesn't have the same effect on the investment.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very different take on that, and again, I have shared that briefly previously. But some people say 5%, some say 10%. Again, look at how aggressive you are, how quickly you want to grow. There's a famous quote about 50% of my marketing works. I just don't know which 50%. You can pour as much money as you like into it. If you don't know which part of the marketing is working, then you're going to waste a lot of money. My take is obviously figure out how much money you're going to get in return, ruthlessly track that, and if you're getting the return you're looking for, then why not spend twice as much or 3 times as much on the marketing? Because if the return on investment is the same, why just hold yourself back to 5% or 10% or a different number? But if you don't know where to start, I'd say a 5% budget would be a good starting point. But of course, it depends where you are in your life cycle of the business, and also how quickly you want to grow, or if you have an exit plan, what your exit plan is. But if you're not sure, you got to start somewhere. 5% is a good starting point. In your first couple of years, you might want to spend a bit more than that to get your name out, to get your product out, but usually 5% is okay. Obviously, if you're turning over millions and you have a big enterprise, then sometimes a 2 or 3% number works okay, because the bigger you get, the more the likely it is you'll have a marketing team then they're going to track and measure everything, so they'll have more clarity and more focus on where to spend the marketing budget. So hopefully they shouldn't spend in the wrong areas. But of course, if you're talking about branding and advertising, and if you're thinking Coca-Cola, Pepsi or some of the larger players around the world, well, they spend a huge amount because they want to be front of mind. So wherever people go, they want their brand to be there, so people are seeing them, thinking about them, and subconsciously taking in their marketing messages. So it depends on what's your purpose for marketing in the first place. But small businesses, I'd say 5% is a good starting point. But again, something we can cover on a different day, because today we're keeping it very general. So coming to you, Hasib, is it? You're gone.
No, I was gonna ask you something different regarding businesses. How important is it to stick with the right people around you, the right advice? What do you know is the right advice? Because sometimes someone's done very well in one side of what they followed, but for your business model, it wouldn't work. And making them judgments, how to make the correct judgments.
Yeah, that question is a bit like you asking me, how important is it to breathe if you want to live? Well, the answer is, you better be breathing a lot. So it's pivotal, and I don't think I can stress how important it is to have the right people around you with the right mindset. Again, there is research that shows we are the average of the 5 people we associate most with. Whether it's 5 or 3 or 7 or 8, it doesn't matter, okay? What the important thing is, you've got to hang around or be around or associate with people, okay, who have a positive mindset, positive outlook, and who are achieving what you're looking to achieve or have achieved what you're looking to achieve, and because you're going to pick up, learn things from them. Sometimes you're on a bit of a downer. If you're around positive people, they'll pick you up. If you're around doom and gloom people, they'll probably be so good that they'll plant the idea in your mind that committing suicide right about now is a good idea. Okay, I'm being flippant, of course, but you gotta have the right people around you. If you do nothing else and have the right people around you, I'd stick my neck out and say that alone would be a good indicator that you're going to be successful, providing those people are successful.
Brilliant advice there. Fantastic advice there, Shaz.
Coming to you now, Hasib.
Yes, Shaz.
Do you think it's a good thing to make mistakes in a business?
Well, you can avoid. Well, everyone wants to avoid making mistakes, but
to do.
let's.
But just because everybody wants that, it doesn't mean it's a good idea, does it?
I think it's good if you make a mistake and you learn from it. Don't make that mistake again. But if you don't learn from it, then making that mistake is not a good thing for yourself from there. But I think when you make a mistake, you learn a lot more than when you are successful in something.
Yeah.
When you've done something well on there. You will always, as I say, fail before you succeed.
Yeah.
But you got to keep trying again. The motivation needs to be there. The aspiration, the same. I'll make sure I'm succeed. So expecting failure, you should expect failure, but don't. I think the fear factor. Don't fear it.
Would you say it's failures, or would you say it's lessons being learned?
It is lessons being learned.
So they're not really failures, are they?
If you learn from the mistake on there, it's lessons.
Well, even if you learn after the third time, I'm a slow learner, see, so I make loads of mistakes again and again and again. I think Einstein said something like doing the same thing again and again and again and expecting a different result is insanity. I think that he created that quote for me. But moving on from that, coming on to your point, I think even if you make the same or a similar mistake 3 or 4 times, hopefully people don't, but if they did, I would still see it as a failure, and perhaps a bigger failure and a bigger failing. But that should really be seen as a lesson, and forgive me, it should not be seen as a failure or a failing. It should be seen as a lesson, and a harder lesson, and it should then focus them to not make that mistake again, because you don't want to be learning the same lesson again and again and again and again over days, weeks, months, or years.
As a failure, just do for next time to make the right decision for you. Once you make a failure, you make the right decisions the next time, which is a good thing, because as you said, you learn a lot quicker, and also from that failure, the mistakes that you make, you evaluate, think, wow, what did I do wrong there? How do I get it next time? I'll make sure I'll do my best not to do that again. So having failures,
let's call it lessons.
I
think words are important in this particular context, because again, I'm in that mood today. See, sometimes just quotes come to my mind. I think I'm just so excited to be with you on the show today. After about 3 or 4 weeks.
Now I'm getting worried.
It's Tom Watson, founder of IBM, said, if you want to succeed, double your failure rate. I think he was quite right. So make those mistakes earlier, quicker, get them out the way, okay, and then just move on. So there's no shame in making mistakes. We make them all the time. I've been in business for quite a while now. I make mistakes every single day, and I'm not embarrassed or ashamed to admit that. I work with people who've been in business 30, 40 years, some even longer. They're still making mistakes. So we shouldn't be that arrogant to think we're never going to make a mistake, and we shouldn't be that arrogant to not realize when we make a mistake. But it's okay, because nothing ventured, nothing gained. Sometimes you're trying things. There's an element of risk. It might not work. You might see it as a mistake. It doesn't matter. You win some, you lose some. That's what business is all about. If we all won every time, every shot we took, okay, or every time we tried something, if we won every time, and everybody would be in business, and success would be very easy to achieve, and something which is easy to achieve and something which everybody has usually isn't worth having. There's so many sacrifices and challenges that we have to make that in the end it really is worth doing. Just like running a marathon, climbing a mountain, or doing something else very difficult outside one's comfort zone, there's a sense of achievement at the end. It's the same in business. With business, it kind of becomes a lifelong skill, because let's say somebody starts their business at 30 and is reasonably successful or perseveres, they'll probably stay in that business for 10, 20, 30 or even 40 years or longer, depending on their own aspirations, ambitions and future plans. So that's a long commitment, that's a big commitment. So you have to give it time, you have to try stuff, and you have to be patient. A lot of people aren't patient. They want instant results. We go onto Amazon, we buy stuff instantly, 2-3 clicks is there. We go onto Facebook, we get news and information quickly. We go online, everything's now. Okay, success doesn't come now. Success takes a long time. Look at any golfer, they've been practicing since the age of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, very early in their teens perhaps. Same with boxers, same with footballers. Oh, the people who've achieved super success, okay, in the world. That didn't happen over 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 weeks. That happened over a long time, and there's the theory of 10,000 hours worth of practice. I think it takes more than 10,000 hours, but 10,000 hours is a good baseline, which was something Malcolm Gladwell came up with in his book, and so you have to give it time and you have to be patient. I think it was Buddha, in fact, who said, infinite patience leads to immediate results. Very deep and wise. You gotta be patient at it. It's gonna happen when it's your time, as long as you have the courage and the mindset and the focus to keep trying, changing, adapting. Those are important traits to have.
Very important. Very good advice there.
Especially the open mind. People close their mind very quickly. That won't work. I tried it before. But the way you tried it didn't work. Nothing's wrong with the concept or the strategy, the principle, but there's 18 different steps you had to take. You only took 4 steps. Therefore, that's why it didn't work. And the 4 you did take, you were so miserable at them, okay, that you were bound to fail. I tried telemarketing, for example. It didn't work. Well, who did it? Me. Have you done telemarketing before? No, I haven't. Did you have a script? No, I didn't. Okay. Did you have a clear call to action? No, I didn't. How qualified was the list? Well, it wasn't. I just went on to Google and downloaded a list, or got an apprentice or work experience trainee to download it. Well, that's not the way to do it, is it? That's just one example, by the way. There's many other examples. So people always think because they tried something and did it badly, that thing, whatever the thing may be, didn't work. No, it was your inability to not make it work, because hundreds and thousands and perhaps even millions of businesses worldwide doing what you're doing with that thing and making it work. So take responsibility as well. And like we said earlier in the show, we don't want to take responsibility because it was always somebody else's fault. We don't do anything wrong, do we, Asib? Of course not.
It's easy to blame someone else.
Yeah, but coming back to the point, making them, there's no shame in making mistakes. It's not a failure. It's okay. Do it. It's going to happen anyway. So be comfortable with it.
Brilliant piece of advice there.
Now, coming back, because it's my time to ask you questions, because I know you like to slip in 1 or 2 questions here. But
before we move to the next one, because it's part, and you can ask me that question. What do you think?
Is that your new line now? Before you move on to the next one,
you can ask me a question after this. What are the common habits do you think a person has to have to be successful?
Yeah, that's a lot would be the answer.
If you narrow it down.
To make it really easy, and it's a book I've recommended before, and it's a book I'll recommend again today, and I'll continue recommending because it works so well, is by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And if my mind serves me correctly, there are, I think, 21 different principles he talks about. Read the book, study it, reread it, and keep reading it. Because all those 21 points, if they are 21, it might be a different number, but let's stick to 21. And if you really go into them, and you can master some of them, you're going to be successful. But I think always staying, I think coming back to Steve Jobs, because I mentioned him before the break. He said, stay hungry, stay foolish. So I think having that hunger to achieve is always important. Okay, and most entrepreneurs, I must say, are good at that, because they want to do more. Okay, they want to be better, they want to achieve different things. That's why they went into business in the first place. So that's an important trait. Focus, I think, is exceptionally important. Okay, be focused on your goals, be focused on why you're in business, be focused on what you're doing for your customers, for your team members. Okay, be very focused. With focus comes clarity. Clarity can be a difficult one, and that sometimes comes through experience. So people don't get that very quickly. Okay. Also, it's an important trait to be able to understand numbers, finances. I'm not saying become an accountant. Okay, but have a basic ability to understand profit margins, costs. Okay, what works, what doesn't work. Time management is exceptionally important, and more important today than it ever was, because we've got so many distractions. Hey, you got email going off, you got your phone going off, you got your text message going off, you got WhatsApp going off, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got Twitter, you got Snapchat, you got this, you got that, then you got your staff members, and then the wife, and then the kids, if you have a wife or a husband, and kids, and then something else, and then you got your, if you have a PA, you got her or him, and they're supposed to be managing you. Instead, you end up managing them. You think, why do I have a PA? She's meant to be my assistant, and I'm her or his assistant. So there's so many different interruptions that you got to be really focused. Again, so focus links in with time management. Is you got to be ruthless about this. What do I want to achieve from today? So writing those goals for the next 12 months or the 6 months are good. Have daily goals. When I go home today or tonight or this afternoon or whenever I do, what are the top 3 things I want to achieve? Okay, so I'm going to make sure I do these. So why not leave everything off on silent? Let me achieve these 3 first, and then go into email and all the other things I've just covered off, which are interruptions. So the more successful people are, the better they are at time management, which I think we did cover again previously, which I call self-management, as do others. Because we can't manage time. Time ticks and goes, doesn't it? It goes. We can sit here for 6 hours. Oh wow, this show went really quick, Azib. Oh, it was 6 hours. Because you can just talk, and there's so much to talk about and so much to say. So that's important. Having a good handle on, again, linked with numbers on cash flow is important. Having a very clear handle on your purpose, that's important. I think patience, which we've covered, is important. Having a high sense of drive, I'm really good to do this, and having a positive mindset is important. So these are small all things, and you can't master all these in one go. Having people skills and being able to appreciate people is exceptionally important, and a skill linked with that, which again Sukhi is very good at, is understanding different people and personalities and their traits and behaviors. I think that is probably one of the most important and overlooked and perhaps even undervalued skills, because different people communicate differently, understand things differently, talk differently, behave differently. If you can understand them and connect with them, you'll get the best out of them, and you'll also be more forgiving of them and of yourself, because sometimes we expect too much from others. So those are some of the traits. And I think it'd be a good idea for you, me and Sukhi, to go through what traits we think, in our experience, make a good entrepreneur. So that's one for you to note, Hasib, and we can cover that when we're together at a forthcoming show. Is it my turn now? Or?
It is your turn, Chaz, yes.
I thought you were about to say, it's time to go home now.
It nearly is, but not yet.
Nearly, yeah? What do you think holds people back, or have we covered this already? Because I know at the start you asked a question.
We did cover a bit of that. I think hold people back, as you said. One of the main reasons is, as you said.
In that, keep it short. Your 3 things that you think hold people back.
I think they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in the ideas.
Yep.
And having that confidence in themselves that they can do something, and believing that others have that, and also getting others to believe in them.
Yep.
And as the main point there is getting people to believe in them and believing themselves that they can do something. They set something up and we can do it, and learn lessons, and they're prepared to fail. And I think main reason people don't want to fail, reason is is they think it's a pride, embarrassing. I fail at something, I've not succeeded, gives them low confidence, and giving low confidence, they go in the shell. That's some of the reasons.
Okay, fair enough. But
you asked for 3, just some more.
No, it's good. You must be a good accountant, because I said 3 and you're stuck to 3. So you can at least count and count properly. That's a very important skill.
That's what I say. It's more than 3.
Listen to, and again, it's also an important skill to listen to the question and then answer the question. Okay, people listen to the question, but then answer some of the question which was never asked. So listening is a very important skill indeed. Asking good questions is also a good skill, because the quality of the answer depends on the quality of the question. Again, taking responsibility ourselves. We didn't get the right answer because we didn't ask the right question. But we're going to go off on a tangent with that, so let's come back. If a small business is looking to grow quickly, what are some of the things that you think they can do or you've seen people do which have worked well? I know you can't generalize and apply one thing to everybody, but just generally share your experience of what kind of has worked well for people.
I think what works well for people is when they repeat what they've done, and which was a success, which worked for them, and that success they repeated it instead of changing it dramatically. Keep it. If something's working, repeat it. Another thing is marketing. Marketing the right stuff. Marketing to the right people. Marketing to the right who they're targeting, the customers that they're targeting. And another thing is, I think what has worked well for people is word of mouth. Word of mouth, and referring people with who they're working with. That works well for people because the person who's referring them has worked with the business, knows what they are. There's proof in the pudding, and they know what to expect. So when a person goes to the other business, they know what to expect. They've had testimonials from them, having testimonials from your own customers. I think that's another thing with a business don't do. They don't advertise what good they've done in the business. So if they've done something good, they feel in a way that they shouldn't ask the customer of writing a testimonial to them saying, we've done this work, whatever work they might have done or sold something or anything along them lines, and could we write a testimonial for ourselves?
Why do you think that is?
I think they think, what difference does that make? Is my customer on there? Well, he's gonna say something good about me, but really, does every customer say good thing about your business? I think we fail to promote ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's because we're humble. Again, generalizing, can't speak for every single person, but generally speaking, humble, modest. Okay, we don't want to be seen to be bragging. It's very un-British to brag and show off. So that's partly, I guess, it, and partly I think you're right. We don't understand the value of testimonials and case studies and other such type of literature or collateral or material which demonstrates how good we are. So I think you're right, more of that should be done. Any other things people can do to grow a business?
Other things people can do to grow businesses is, I'm talking about small business here. I'm talking about a business who hasn't got much of a hasn't got much of a cash flow, hasn't got much of a budget to spend on the marketing. Is networking clubs. That's something close by. They could go there, reach different businesses.
Did you say not working clubs?
No, networking clubs.
Yeah, okay.
There might be not working clubs. Networking clubs. That's something they could approach there, and promote themselves there. Get to know the local businesses there as well, and tell about people about the service that they provide the business, and get to know people. And something that they can provide for businesses there could be something that they could provide to their own customers there when they need something. That's something they could do. What other quick ideas? There's a couple of I think in the last minute of our show. Can you just give us one? What do you think?
I think about the legacy you want to create and think about the story you want to create. So what's the story of your business? And then write that down. This is my story. This is what I want it to be. So forget the plan. Okay, in 5 years' time, this is what I want people to talk about or say about my business. That's your story. And go out there and create and make that story happen. That's going to be really exciting. Lots of fun. Lots of lessons to learn. And
thank you,
worthwhile.
Shaz. Thank you for joining us, and you gave brilliant advice today. Golden nugget. Hopefully, see you next week, everyone. Thank you for listening.